Booze and boards, boards and booze. Bad guys at large, it's bad news. No beer this time, so we won't lose. We found their lair, they'll pay their dues. The town is saved, so now we booze. Booze and boards, boards and booze. With Mickey and Jeb.
You look, your mind is turning like you have something really stupid to say, Jeb.
I reckon I do.
Oh, today's joke for today's game.
The Reckoners.
Right.
I was a reckoner because I reckon.
Yes, you reckon, Jeb. That's great. Okay, so, Reckoners, if you watched our PAX Unplugged video,
Yep.
you know that Mickey bought Reckoners. Mickey didn't kick Reckoners, he bought it at PAX.
But it was at a cheaper price.
It was, I think it's a Kickstarter price, though.
A cheaper price than what they were selling
Right.
it for.
And this is actually the Kickstarter version without metal pieces.
Yep. We had a discussion about it. Go
probably,
watch it.
yeah, on PAX there's a whole thing on, on the metal pieces and somebody that wanted them and blah, 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 but that was pretty funny if you want to go watch that video. So anyways, so Reckoners is 6 people, 5 people?
I think it's 5, right?
Sheesh, how many people?
I don't see
we don't
it on
even
here.
know. You know, we rely on these boxes, people.
Wow.
Jeez. All right, it's on the front. 1 to 6, as Mickey said. Don't listen to Jeb. I got to convince you people not to listen to Jeb.
I could have just counted the people on the back.
Yeah, we could have done that. 14 plus. A little bit high, maybe.
Yeah, not too difficult.
I mean, there's kind of a lot going on,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't say that.
Once you know the symbols,
right.
I think you're good.
And 75 minutes. I have a feeling that depends a lot on player count too.
Player count and how much you know about the game.
Yeah.
Because if it's your first run through,
It'll take a little bit longer.
You'll have to learn.
The phases and everything.
Yeah.
So, Reckoners is a cooperative, dice chucking,
good guys versus bad guys.
yeah, good guys versus bad guys.
It's
with
based on a novel novels by Brandon Sanderson.
Right.
And I guess the whole story is that some humans, I don't know how they get superpowers, but they get it, and then when they get them, they become evil, and they start doing bad stuff. And the Reckoners are kind of like the humans that don't have powers that are trying to stop the epics, which are the bad guys with powers.
Yep. Exactly right. So it's kind of reverse roles of everybody type of thing.
It's like me and Mickey going out to fist fight Superman.
Well, people the plain people are now the heroes, and all the bad guys are usually the ones saving the people.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a twist on that type of scenario, and it is by Nabo Games, and we have designers, Jeb.
Game designed by Brett Sobal and Seth Van Orden.
Okay, so basically, like Jeb said, you're the humans. You are going to, based on the number of player accounts, based on the player count, are how many locations in the city that there are that you are going to utilize, and then your ultimate goal is to beat Steelheart, who is the main bad guy. There are not numerous bad guys, at least yet. It's just Steelheart.
Right. The epic deck is where all the various, I guess, henchmen kind of people are.
Right.
And Steelheart's the big dude.
Right. And all the different types of guys, they show up in the city locations that you're going to do. Like I said, it's a dice chucking game. Each character that you can play has a specialty. There are cards that you can acquire throughout the game that can make yourself better. They cost. There's just there's a good amount of stuff going on in the game, but it's not incredibly hard to learn, really, and it's it's pretty interesting. And again, if you watched the PAX video, you know that I liked it enough to buy it on the spot there. So I guess in a minute, if Jeb doesn't have anything else to say, we will get into components and everything. But I can't remember if I forgot anything or not.
So at PAX, I think we played was it the 6-player game? It was either 5 or 6.
Me and you. I remember
at least 3 other people.
Yes, there was at least 5.
Right. So we played kind of a full-on game. We are going to be playing a 3-player game. It's going to be Jeb, Mickey, and Gary. And we're all going to play. So you'll get to see a 3-player game. It'll definitely be shorter than what a 6-player game would be, I would think. I mean,
I think if everybody really knew the game well, I think it would roll right along if you kind of knew what you were looking for. But there is still a decent amount, no matter how many people you play, that you need to pay attention to, and it does help with each person. Like something that Jeb sees, I might not have saw, and something that I see, Jeb might not have saw, because it's kind of one of those games where you might focus on something or whatever.
And there's always, trying to talk out what is the best thing to do, because there's a lot. So.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's a co-op. We both like co-ops, and it's a good one. So,
all right, so we will be back with the components of Reckoners. All right, we're back with game components.
For
Reckoners.
Okay, good. Thanks, Jeb.
You're welcome.
I mean, if they didn't watch, maybe they have no clue what this is. They'd appreciate if you indicated what components we were going to go over.
Well, we will go over them.
Okay.
And we did say Reckoners.
Okay.
So. All right, so there's a good amount of components for this game. So we'll start with the trays, because they're kind of the larger of the components to go through. So there are 7 city district trays and city boards. So I'll pass that over to...
This is a tray for the cities, and Jeb has the actual city cards. Alright, and then your city goes in there.
Yep.
Cities don't matter, except for what they look like, because they're all exactly the same. They have 1 through 10 for the life. They have 1 through 5 on the research, and they have an infinity square. Just so you can see the components that go into there. You have a circle for the research. You have a green cube for the health and or the infinity. So that's what those get.
And when you reduce them to 0, they fit in over here.
Right.
And then I guess we should say at the very top is where you would put the epic card.
So throughout the game, cities are going to spawn a epic. The epic slides right into it doesn't really catch in, it just slides right in there. And then there's a bracket so that you know what their epic abilities, you can call it a power level if you want, whatever. But they never reduce below the first one. As an aside, and they never actually go beyond this. They will just keep triggering that over and over again, plus all the other things, which we'll get. That doesn't make any sense to you yet, but we will get into that.
Great. All right, so that's everything for that board.
And there's all the different cities, which is nice.
Okay, next up is the Reckoner's resource tray and board. So that's what this one looks like. You can easily tell because there's card slots up here and there's like a little mountain thing.
So basically this is for your marketplace deck. This is for what's going to be available in the market, these slots here. And this is your people, your population.
So you get 2 red hex cube things.
So 1 in the 10 spot, 1 in the 1 spot, and then you have 2 orange on this side for your money, which does the same thing. The 10 spot and the 1 spot to know how much money you have.
And then there's a clear one that goes in the center that will bounce down. And then the last thing, if you could hand me a die, please.
Any die?
Yeah, not just not his movement die. But when dice get stolen in the game, there are slots here where they fit in, and it can hold 4, but that's not a maximum. It's just how many are built into the thing.
I would say, if you get more than 4 taken away...
Yeah, you're in trouble.
You probably lost. If you get more than 1 taken away, you probably lost.
Okay, so I think that's everything with that board, so we'll slide that off, and then we will show the Steelheart tray, which is here. So at the very top it says the Reckoners, but you can actually put the Steelheart cut out there.
So it looks all fancy.
Yep. And then there are on the left side are his actions that there's actually 4 slots to put these in.
So he has trackers also that slide back and forth. These are very easy. It's not a clip in, it just kind of slides in, so I don't know. It works nice, and they come out easily, and so you don't have to worry about busting stuff off of it and blah blah blah. There's one more down there. You don't need to see it. We're just showing you. What's nice also about him is that, I mean, you can put that there if you want to. It fits. So this is his research, and when you're done with research, you'll flip to his health. So you can either start with this off to the side, or I'm sorry, the health off to the side and this in, or you can just cover it, and then when you're done, lift it up. So whichever way you want to do it.
And then the last thing is, if we take this out, at the beginning of the game there is a setup with how many players there are. So there's actually multiples of the starting positions, and then this one I think there's only 2 sides to it.
Yep.
So it would flip like that. And in the rule book it'll tell you which side and which one of these to use for setup.
Right. And it's based on, like Jeb said, number of players, and there's a difficulty chart on how to manipulate these.
And then the last of the trays are the Reckoners trays. So these are for each player, which it's actually, they have the specific player picture on them, but I don't think there's any real difference between it, except...
The biggest difference is what starting card they get.
Right.
Which is basically a piece of equipment, but other than that, they're exactly the same.
Does this pop out or not?
Oh,
I didn't know if it came with it that way, or if they make it pop out so you can switch out if they do new ones.
I guess if they did more, it does pop
Oh,
out.
okay.
So
in the future, if they did an expansion, it might just be pop in that new person.
To pop in the new person, right?
Yeah.
Because the game already holds 6, so that'd be highly likely that if they added new heroes, they might just give you cards. Alright, so those are the hero trays. You can probably see by the hero trays that you have used die get stored up there. Unused die are sitting in the slots down here.
There's a roll 1, roll 2, and roll 3 slots.
Right, so you remember to store your rolls. And then there's a little container for your chips.
And they say to put them on the side.
Is all this stuff absolutely necessary? Absolutely not. Does it make it really nice? Absolutely yes. Right, at least in my opinion. Do you disagree, Jeff?
No, it makes it... It's nice to have.
So, along with the people trays, we have the miniatures that go along with each person, and as I was stating before, there's the starting cards for them instead of these pieces of equipment, and the name of what it is literally right on it.
Yep, and they give these bases to put the figures in, and there's also the sniper token that goes with the guy who is the sniper.
Right. Last of the figures is the bad guy Steelheart, because he will actually move around the board.
You already showed them all the purple and green things, right?
Yeah, we went over these cubes when we put into the cities. Those are to track the health of whatever epic is in there at the time. This gives you an idea of how many different epics come out during the game, or can come out.
And then there's all the dice for the good guys to use.
Yep.
And the biggest difference is the clear dice are basic dice, while the colored ones are specific to
a hero.
Yes.
Right. Actually, they're not a hero to the human, to the reckoner.
Right. Well, heroes can be...
Well, that's true, but I mean, the super-powered
Right.
people, I guess, are bad in this game. So, yeah, that's, you know, 6-sided die. Biggest difference with the specialized one is there's a side with a double symbol.
Like double skull, double money.
So, there you go. Lots of dice for chucking.
Alright, we got some tokens. So, these black circle tokens with the research symbol are, I guess, what is it, plan tokens?
Yep.
Yeah, they're not research. That's not the research symbol. That's the plan symbol.
Yeah, the magnifying glass is the research.
Right.
But, good try.
Yeah, I caught my mistake. But anyway, those are the plan tokens. You can acquire them throughout the game. We'll explain all that when we actually explain how the game is played. Then there are the barricades. You want to show them those, Mickey?
These are barricades.
They look like barricades.
They look like barricades, and you can stand them up.
Yep.
These are the enforcers.
Yep. They look like enforcers.
They look like enforcers, and you can stand them up. And they're red.
Yes. And the very last thing are the player aid cards, which are the size of the epic cards, but they're definitely not epic cards.
Pure cheat sheet.
Yeah.
The one side has all the phases of the game at the top, and there is a brief description of what you do in each of those phases. Very, very nice cheat sheet. And then on the back are all the symbols and what they are called. Doesn't tell you what everything does. You have to look in the rule book for that, but they're all there so that you know when you're looking at, oh yeah, that's an attack symbol, oh that's a research symbol, etc., etc. So those are very nice. And not that it pertains to the game that we're playing, but Jeb on his side of the table has, this was a pack of extra epics from the Kickstarter, and this, is it this guy?
Yeah.
This one, I guess it's this shiny guy. I think it's just this shiny guy. What's it? Yeah, the hotness. He has, I guess, some special rules. We haven't played with him yet, but it's, or her, or whatever it is. No, it's a him. He's a, yeah, he looks like a dude in a nightclub with, I don't know, android women surrounding him or something. Oh, anyways, okay, that's an aside. But they did the Kickstarter stuff.
Right. And I believe, oh, did you showed him the Steelheart?
I did show him the Steelheart figure.
Then I think that's everything for components.
Yep.
So we will get into setup. Alright, so for the first thing for setup, you're going to place a number of city district trays on the table equal to 1 plus the number of players. And you arrange them in a ring formation.
We're going to be playing a 3-person game. So we will have, since I can math, we will have 4 of these. Alright, so during the explanation of setup, we'll probably still be sliding stuff in and out.
Yep.
It's not to, we'd have to rearrange the camera 40 times. So if you want to see what the table looks like totally set up, watch the first 20 seconds of gameplay and you'll see what it looks like all cohesive, I guess. But anyways, the point of the circle is that things happen in a clockwise order in this game. If you don't have the ability to put it in order, you can put it in any schematic that you like as long as you remember that your start point and your finish point, and that continues the same way throughout the entire game. So even if I put them in a straight line, the obvious choice would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You got to do that the whole game, okay? Instead of, and that makes a difference from what you'll see when we go over some of the other stuff. All right.
So next up, you are going to draw the city, I guess, boards and fill them in. And this part, you can be random, or you can pick the places you want to go. I don't think they're
As we've said
dependent.
before, doesn't matter. It just looks cool to put different cities out there.
Right.
At this point in the game, which they could change, which would be very interesting, is if the cities started to make a difference.
Right, and then any unused city
Just
boards
they go
and
back in the
trays
box.
back in the box. All right, next you're going to shuffle the epic cards and randomly draw and place one epic and face up into each city, and set the rest of the epic cards face down in the stack.
And then we would have the stack just off to the side somewhere, because you will be refreshing these.
All right, then you're going to set one action bracket into each of the trays. When you place it, it gets placed on the third space, so there are 3 actions between the brackets.
So Steelheart's the one.
And then that one up there needs to be...
Yeah, Jeb, this one up here.
Alright, next you're going to place an epic research marker and an epic health marker onto the city districts tray based on what the epic says.
Okay, so this is a good time to explain an epic card, since we have to be able to read it now. Alright, so we are going to, and I don't know if Jeb's going to pop this up or not, but we are going to talk about this guy here. Alright, so you look at his top left corner, and you look at the purple number and the magnifying glass for research, and you look at the bottom number, which is green, for his health. And then you take a purple and a green cube and you place them in the appropriate spot on the board. So for instance, curveball, he has a research of 2, so the purple spot goes into a 2, cube goes in, well, it's a cylinder, but whatever. And the green goes into 5 health. This guy has a 4 and a 6, so one goes there, and one goes there. In the card example I gave, you will notice that he actually has the infinity symbol. So if anybody has the infinity symbol for health, it goes up in this square. And all that means throughout the game, which I'm sure we'll touch on again, is that you can't do any damage to him until you fully research him.
Alright, so next we're going to set up the Reckoner's resource tray. So we're going to slide all this out of the way to make room for that.
Here's how you set up the resource tray. And again, you're gonna make all this stuff work based on your own table.
You are going to use the resource markers to set the population track to 40 and the money track to 4.
Okay, so there's the pink, and you get to start with a whopping $4.
Yep. And then you place the white resource marker in the topmost spot in the center. You are going to shuffle the equipment cards and place them face down in the slot that fits the whole deck, and then you're going to draw 4 equipment cards and set them face up in the slots provided. That's everything for that tray. So next you are going to start setting up the Steelheart tray. So you are going to set the research track at its starting value, which is based off the number of players. So you would put the research track in this side, because you start where you have to research them. And based on number of players, we're doing a 3-player game and standard, so he would start at 26. There is a chart in the book that will tell you what it starts at.
We're not going to go over all the combinations, because
Right.
you can look at this chart by yourself.
And then you are going to get the next 2 boards based off of the chart in the book. So it's based on difficulty level, which we're doing standard. So power board A and adjustment board B. And you want to look for the ones that have
So we have
a 3A.
down here, very hard to see. I have a 3, and Jeb said I want this on the A side, I
Right.
believe. So this is the 3B side, so I'm going to turn it over to the 3A side, and I'm going to slide that in there. And he already has, so anyways, it's supposed to be, and he did, because I remember the double barricade.
Alright, next you're going to place the 4 action brackets in their spots.
And this one starts at 1, right?
on the second space so that 2 actions are showing.
Oh my gosh. Did we play that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Because while you were away, I set up everything correctly.
Oh. Good thing. I
think-
swear there was something that... Maybe that's
It's when
after
they come,
the game.
when
oh,
epics
when
they come in at 1.
It's not the start of the game. See, this is why I play games with Jeb.
That's the only reason why.
Yeah, because he knows what he's doing. I don't. It's probably why I lose.
Alright, so once you have all that stuff together, you're going to put the enforcement miniatures, barricades, special die, one of each special die, and plan tokens in separate or I guess make piles wherever it's available on your table. So all of this stuff
Right. So
is going to be set around the board however you see fit. Alright, so the next step is to give each player 1 player board. So we can slide this out of the way. So here's a player board.
So everybody's going to get one of these.
Yep. You can choose them or you can pick them randomly. And then everybody's going to get the following components. So 1 player tray with their player board inside of it. You get 1 miniature matching the player board.
Big dumb guy.
And he's green, so he gets that base. You're going to get the player ability card listed on their tray, so he would get Faith.
So he gets that card.
It has a special note that Cody, who is the sniper, would also get the sniper token in this case. Next up, you are going to get 3 special die that match the color of your player board, and 3 basic dice.
So he would get this, and he would get this.
And then he'd get a player aid card and 1 plan token in his tray. So player aid, and here's the plan token in the tray. So that's everything that they would get.
And you do that for everybody that's playing the game. Obviously, the things that are going to be different are the card and the special dice for each person. And I guess if you want to be really specific, the color of the base.
Yep. And another thing, it mentioned it in the rule book, there's a 4th die for that color. So over there is the 4th green die. And you set it aside. You don't use all of the special die.
Okay.
So just to make a note on that.
But like if you caught it, Jeb said that like all this stuff is gonna end up being in the middle anyway. So
right. And then place any unused player boards, player miniatures, ability cards back in the box. Any unused dice are placed next to the resource board, the Reckoner's resource board. So just that whole big pile.
So obviously it wouldn't be quite this big because we're going to have 3 players, so there will be, we got 6 out right now, there'll be 12 more taken out of that. Then all the rest of the dice go in there. You might be going, well, why do all the rest of the dice go in there? Because you have the opportunity to maybe, just maybe, get an extra die. Don't count on it.
Right. So that's everything for setup. However, in the book, there is a prologue phase that follows setup, which kind of sets up Steelheart.
Right. It's still set up, but it's like, okay, you're almost ready to start, but now you need to do this.
The first thing is to place a Steelheart miniature on a random city board to begin the game. When I did it, I just picked this as 1.
Roll the die.
So 1, 2. So that would put Steelheart there. He's right there. And then next you're going to activate Steelheart's red action track only. Here is the Steelheart board, and they're talking about this action track. So on the far left there's 3 red badges, and then there's 1 red badge here. So that's 4 red badges, and then there's a slash mark with a 3, which means you place 3 at a time. So we're going to be putting 4 enforcements on the board, and since the limit is 3, the first 3 are going to go in this city, and then the next 3 are going to go, or the next 1 is going to go in that city. Next you're going to roll Steelheart's movement die, and you move the Steelheart miniature clockwise that many districts.
Ah, look,
So,
and we got our case here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and yes, And the book even notes that there may be places with a low player count that Steelheart may end up in the same place that he started, and that happened in this book in particular.
And just to clarify, these are actually going to be over here. It's just everything's kind of off the board right now. So next up is the players are going to use the starting money. So I guess we can just...
So we're going to move the city again real quick, or at least spread it out. Going to bring over the player resources. Alright, so we have 4 to spend, and this is what we have to buy. We have evidence for $2, 10 swords for $3, flash grenade for $2, and twin pistols for $2. We're not describing all the cards yet, so...
Right now you get a free purchase phase.
Right.
So you've got $4 to spend, and you would, whatever you buy, you just give to whoever.
Whoever you want. I'm going to guess, most likely, you're probably going to buy as much as you can to suit everybody up the best as possible, but maybe you're not. Maybe you're just going to save up for a boatload of money and go hog wild your next turn. Right. I don't know. I don't care.
Alright, so let's say we bought the twin pistols, so it immediately refills. This goes down $2. We give this to somebody, and now we actually can see something new to buy from. But since we bought the...
No, I want to buy this one too, Jeb.
Right.
And now we have 0 money.
0 money, and hey look.
And there's a trap.
So once that phase is complete, players select their starting positions on the game board by placing their miniatures onto whichever city they want. So, completely your choice. You just pick which city you want to start in. So you could even start in Steelheart City if you wanted to.
Just not a bad idea.
Okay, so it says now the game is ready to begin. So play proceeds with the first Reckoner's phase, followed by the first epic phase, and you just repeat these until the game ends. Okay, so we're going to start showing you different things you can do and how to play the game. So the first thing we start with is the Reckoner phase. So the first thing that you're going to do, and this includes all the players, they're going to roll their dice.
Right. Simultaneously, everybody gets to do this at the same time.
Yep. So how to roll the dice? First thing you do, roll all the dice.
And again, just to reiterate, simultaneously, so this isn't, like, you don't have to take turns doing this. So I roll the dice.
Alright.
And this is roll 1.
Yep, so you have to pick at least 1 die to keep. So, are you keeping, or which one are you keeping, or multiple?
I'm going to keep these 2.
Alright, so
and then I will put them in roll number 1 slot.
Alright, so next thing you're going to do is re-roll the remaining dice. That was roll 2. So once again, you have to keep at least 1.
I will keep that one.
You're not keeping the double skull?
Nope.
Wow.
Or maybe, is it, oh, yeah.
No, I don't know.
Actually, that's 4. Oh, it's 1 away. Yeah, I'll keep that.
Alright, so once you do that, now you roll all your remaining.
And this is the 3rd and final roll.
Yep.
Wow, that was pretty lucky, actually. That's pretty decent for what I was hoping to do. Okay, now remember, everybody has done this, and everybody has different results on their die. This is just an example of me playing my character.
Right. So, once everybody rolls their dice, the next thing is to use the dice. So, you are going to choose one of the possible dice uses you wish to perform, and then once you use that, you're going to move the die from down here into the spent dice spots.
Right.
So there are multiple things you can do in this game.
Yes. This phase is also a simultaneous phase, except you are going to want to talk to each other about what you are doing. And it is actually suggested that you might actually want to go in some, doesn't matter how, but some sort of kind of turn order, just so you can talk things out until you get comfortable working with each other in the game. I believe when we played that, that's kind of what we did. I mean, you'll see us do a few things out of order, but
Right.
there's a lot of discussion when we actually play the game. So
Really quick, we're going to just swap this with this one for example
this
purposes.
is for example
So-
purposes only, so you guys can see better.
Yeah, because I don't think you want to see it upside down.
Right.
So you don't do this in the middle of the game. All right. So Mickey has a few choices of things he can do, and we'll go over those real quick. The first thing he can do is to move. So how do you move, Mickey?
I just take any die out of my tray. The slots don't matter anymore, and I move it up to a used space, and it allows me to move into an open location. And what I mean by open is that it doesn't have a barricade, because I can't move into a city with barricade, and I can't move out of a city that has a barricade.
Right. Okay, the next thing is remove barricades. So let's say there was a barricade over here.
All right.
I'll lay it face down so they can see it.
I could take a different die and spend it, which means move it up, and anywhere on the board. Doesn't have to be in the spot that I'm at, just like Jeb showed you, clears the barricade.
Another thing you can do is activate player ability cards or equipment cards that you have. So actually you would have had, say everybody gave you...
Oh, everybody gave me equipment.
Yep.
Alright.
Faith is reroll as many of the dice you just rolled as desired. This must be performed during the roll dice step, and it cannot be used to reroll dice kept from previous rolls. It can only be used before deciding which dice to keep on a given roll. So that's your ability.
I didn't use my ability, but in case you want to know what it is, I exhaust this card or tap it or whatever you want to call it. It gives me a reroll on my turn. Can't reroll stuff that I've already set aside, but if I get a crappy roll during my rolls, or I'm really trying to get something, at least I have a chance to maybe get it.
Right. And now if Mickey wanted to use one of his equipment, say the twin pistols, it has a symbol of a white die, and it says 1 of the green skulls equals 2 green skulls. So what that means is that any of his basic dice, which is the white die on the card, if he rolled a green skull, instead of it counting as 1, it counts as 2.
Okay. Notice that Jeb said basic die, the white die. That does not mean, first of all, because it's not white, but it does not mean that that equals 4.
Right.
Okay.
And then I believe you can only do that once, right?
Yes. Well, actually,
Oh, wait, no, that one's infinity.
This one
Okay.
has the infinity symbol. So, but if it didn't have the infinity symbol, it's a one-time use.
Right.
Why some of the cards they didn't just put the exhaust symbol on is beyond us, but they didn't. Some of this stuff you have to
Right.
remember. This one works the same way if you're curious, except it's with the research symbol instead.
Alright, so now the other things to do are use the symbols that you got on your rolls. So since Mickey has a lot of green skulls, what does the green skull do, Mickey?
Okay, so the green skull does damage to the epic. Important note that if the health marker is at infinity, I cannot do any damage until this research token is all the way depleted. He doesn't happen to have an infinity ability, but some of these cards do start with infinity. The other important note is that these can be used on Steelheart directly if A, he has been totally researched, and B, you are in the same location as him.
Right.
Okay? That's just an aside, but in their most general case, I spend a die, put it up here, and I reduce the epic by 1 health.
The epic that you're at.
Epic that I'm at.
Yes. And in Mickey's case, he actually has the twin pistols, so that basic green skull is 2 green skulls, so he gets to move it down too.
But I'm going to use this one to do that, Jeb. Move another one up and double it.
But you can do it infinitely. Why wouldn't you do it on both?
Oh, I don't know, because I forgot there was an infinite.
Gotcha. So he would go down 4 from those 2 because of his twin pistols.
Right. Then I could spend 1 more, and 1, 2, and that epic is defeated. The card slides out. We suggest that you put it like in the middle of the table or whatever until the end of the round so that you don't forget who you've beaten. Use whatever method you want, but you don't put them back in the pile or shuffle them in with other discard ones or anything because you need them at the end of the round.
Alright, so let's actually put him back in.
Right.
And give him some health back. And then say you had rolled some different things instead of all those green skulls. So first of all, let's say you rolled one of the magnifying glasses.
Okay. Now I've got a magnifying glass.
So when you spin the magnifying glass, it like the health meter of the epic, you're going to reduce the research meter,
Which is the purple
Yep.
marker. And for each magnifying glass symbol you have, it goes down 1 spot.
Yep.
The interesting mechanic about this, if you notice in the epic cards, they have the health has a number below it. So this guy started at 6 health, and then it has a 2 with a purple circle around it. So what that means is if we research this guy all the way to nothing, this instantly goes to 2.
Yep.
And now you only have to hit him 2 times. So if you have a big slugger, or you got a really hot turn with the green rolls, you can just all outright slam him. But if somebody had really good research, maybe they can get him down so that it only takes 2 hits to give him away. Right. So that's basically how that works.
And then a couple of scenarios that may happen. So if he was down to 1 research, and for some reason another epic boosted him to up to 9 life. So if you do 1 research on him right now, what happens?
Still goes down to 2.
Alright, that is correct. No matter where he is, he's going to 2. However, the other case is if he has 1 life left and you research him 1, where does his life go?
Stays there.
Exactly. You do not move it up to the 2 if he's below what it would go to.
Yeah, they don't penalize you for that. Thank goodness.
Right. Alright, so let's say Mickey rolled a red badge.
Alright, so we were on the cracked sheriff badge now. The cracked sheriff badge is basically for taking care of these enforcer guys, which are the red baddies in the city. They don't do anything directly to you. It's not that type of a combat game, but they will wreak havoc with your population, and they make these guys get stronger.
Yep.
So everything in this game is essential to contain, but I'm just trying to give you an idea of, and you'll see when we get later on how bad they can be. But these kill them off. So for each badge that you roll, you can eliminate 1 enforcer from the spot that you are on. Okay? As an aside, the sniper's ability, he's the only one that has this ability. When he puts his token on the board, he gets to act this, like he can do everything in this spot as he could as if he was actually sitting there. Everything, not just killing stuff.
Right.
He can research. He can hit the Steelheart. He can do whatever. It's a very interesting ability that he's not on the board, but I wanted to mention that because we're not demoing him.
Right. All right. So let's say Mickey rolled the blue symbol.
All right. So the blue symbol looks kind of like a snowflake or a star or something like that, but it is the containment symbol. For each containment that you roll in its most basic form, you can push the level marker down 1 space on the epic board that you are standing on, not to go below the first spot. You can never bring him to 0.
Okay? I wish.
That would be really cool if you could. They are always going to get to do something.
Yeah.
Also, if you're way up here, and, well, I guess I'm saying that wrong. The reverse is when they get more powerful, they can't go beyond the last spot, but they have another ability here that just keeps triggering over and over again for every single time that you couldn't move this up another spot.
Yeah. Alright, so the next symbol that Mickey can roll is the money symbol.
Right, you know what the money symbol looks like? It looks like the money symbol.
Yep. And what would you do with the money symbol?
Okay, so the money symbol just
laying it right on there.
just literally allows you to move up however many symbols on the track.
So he rolled 1.
And that moves up 1. So, again, if you want equipment, you need to roll the money. Yeah, there's just so much going on. Alright, so that's money is probably, that might be the most simple one to remember, honestly.
Yep. And then the last symbol is the plan symbol.
Right, the plan symbol. When you get to the most basic use of the plan symbol is at the, when you spend it, you get a chip. One of the plan chips, okay? But the chip goes to the side of your board because it cannot be used during the round that you acquire it unless some kind of rule let you bypass that. So, but like we're just talking about gaining it with a die, so it sits here until you are allowed to move it over your tray. However, these planning chips, if they are already in your tray, are basically a wild side of a die. So I could spend this on my turn
to do anything.
To do anything I wanted. I mean, I guess I wouldn't
pick plan
with it, but you might have a card that uses the plan chip.
Right.
Important to remember, there are symbols that actually show this in a black circle. That means you need to spend the chip to do it. There are others that just show the symbol. That means it needs to be on a die and not the chip. The important thing about the chip, though, is it is a wild card, and when you gain it with a die, you don't get the effect until your next turn. And that is all of the symbols on the die in their most basic uses. And again, the cards will let you manipulate the die in certain ways. There's no way we can go over all the cards in the game. There is a glossary. The glossary is okay. We did have some questions on some cards that was debatable on how, in our minds, how it could have gone. But for the most part, they're mostly pretty good, pretty clear.
Alright, so say Mickey killed or defeated that epic dig zone where he's at.
Oh, okay.
Yep, and say his awesome teammate Jeb defeated these two. So,
whoa!
Yeah, we did really good in the first round.
Alright, and remember, this is make-believe for examples right now. We didn't go through all the steps to kill those guys.
Right. Alright, so after all the players do their use all their dice and there's nothing left that they can do and they want to move on, you will move to the receive rewards phase. And in this phase, you're going to take all the epics that you defeated and you're going to look at the top right of their cards and you get those rewards. So if there's any red badges, it lets you remove enforcement miniatures anywhere in the city. So how many do we have?
So we have 1, so we could just, this is really heavily populated, so I think we're going to take 1 away from there.
Alright. The blue symbol would contain any epics or Steelheart's action zone. So since we don't have any right now, we wouldn't do it. But
well, this guy's still on the board, so we could contain him.
But we don't have...
Oh, I see what you mean. I thought you were talking about we don't have any epics on the board. No, we don't have any of the blue symbols, like Jeb said, to contain anything. And what he means by blue symbol is that on the die.
And then the other one is receive plan tokens. So you would receive however many are on the rewards, and you can divide them up however you want.
So in that case, we get 1, and And I'm going to let Jeb have it.
Okay, then I won't move.
That was nice of me, huh, Jeb?
Yeah. Next up is earn money. So count up all the money you earn.
So we got $2 for defeating that guy.
All right, so you guys can't see it, but I'm moving up the track to 3 money. And then the last thing is to research Steelheart. So I'm actually going to move the Steelheart board in so you can see how this is going to look. So how much research?
That we did really good on.
Yep.
If we had killed all 3 of these, we get 3, 6, 8.
All right, so what happens is you're going to look at Steelheart's research track and reduce it by that much. So 8 from 26 brings it down to 18. So we did a ton of research on Steelheart that time.
And then that, in this particular case, that's it for the rewards, and I don't think there's any other symbols, are there?
Nope.
Okay.
I will say that the research Steelheart symbol actually has like a little crown inside the magnifying glass, which I couldn't tell until I looked at the rule book.
Yeah, which is telling you that you can only use it to research Steelheart, because you can't use it to like weaken some of these guys for your next turn.
And then all of these are just going to go into a discard pile next to the epic pile. So the next phase is the purchase equipment phase, which we kind of already went over before.
Yep.
All you're going to do is buy equipment with what money you have right now.
The only other thing to talk about with the purchase equipment is there are 2 other things that you can do other than purchase equipment. So A, for $1, you can wipe everything in the market, discard it, and put out a new market.
Yep.
And then the second thing you can do is if a dice gets stolen from you during the game, you can buy that dice back for 2 money.
Yes.
Okay? And Jeb showed you earlier where those dice get stored at the bottom of the resource.
There's actually a $2
mark
sign
down there,
next to
right?
it.
But I think the only one that isn't indicated on the board is wiping of the market.
Right.
So that costs $1 if you want, if like everything on there sucks.
Yeah. All right. That is everything for the good stuff, because now all the bad stuff's going to happen.
Yep.
So we are going to start the epic phase.
Okay, and I think let's a little bit of more make believe now, so you guys can see some worst case scenarios here. We're gonna put we're gonna put 3 of the enforcers back. We are gonna leave this guy and say that for some reason he stayed alive and he got his marker all the way to the top here. And let me have another enforcer, and let's put it, where do you want to put it? Another one here, or?
Doesn't matter to me, I don't think.
Let's put it on the empty one, see what happens. Alright, so here's a kind of a made up scenario. We only defeated 1 guy. We left a bunch of enforcers on the board. Things are bad.
Alright, so first thing in the epic phase is to add the epics. So this is the part where you are going to add epics into the cities that don't have them.
Right.
So you're going to start with the spot that Steelheart's in and go clockwise and start adding epics.
Still an epic, no epic, draw 1 from the deck and put it into the slot.
When you place them in the slot, you are going to move this track so that he only has one thing one action between the brackets, and then you are going to set his health and research. So his research is 3 and health is infinite.
Infinity. Okay.
All right. And you're just going to go all the way around until every city has an epic.
Right. So everybody else is full, so we don't need to replace any more epics.
Yep. So after that, you are going to activate the epics. So once again, starting with Steelheart,
right,
you are going to activate all the actions on the epics card. And you go from left to right.
Alright. And you're going to need the Steelheart board. Okay. So starting with Steelheart, I look at this epic, and his first symbol is the blue line on Steelheart. So what that means is he powers up the blue line on Steelheart 1 space.
Alright, so I will move that 1 space.
The next one looks like a like a gray die with kind of like a lightning bolt in it, that means move that die down on the player research track. What is that die called again, Joe? Discover the Reckoner's Base die. So so that's what that's representing. That's Steelheart's him and his goons
Trying to find our
yeah,
bases.
finding your bases and discovering things. So that moves down one on the track. Then the next one is move his black space up one.
All right.
And then the next one is a person with a lightning bolt through it. That means kill a population. One person in the population.
So we're at 40, so 1 dying brings it down to 39.
And then it happens again on this guy.
38.
Alright, and then that's all his activations. Then what does he do?
So the next thing is to move up the action bracket equal to 1 plus the number of enforcement miniatures.
Okay, so now I have to increase his bracket, and it always moves up 1, and then you add for the number of these guys left in here. So 1 plus the 2 is I have to move this up 3. As you can see, there aren't any more spaces to move it, so this symbol goes off 3 times, which is moving the Discover Base marker down 3 times.
So 1, 2, 3.
Oh, joy.
When this gets moved from the bottom one off, that is when one of our dice gets stolen.
It doesn't matter whose, you just have to give up a die, and it doesn't, moving to the bottom doesn't count, it never really touches the bottom. You just steal the dice and then it immediately goes back to the top.
So right now, if that symbol was executed again, it would go steal the die. This is placed on top.
Right. So you don't get any reprieve for a second. Right. Anyways, you're probably going to see that happen in just a minute. But so put that in the last spot, Jeb, and we will move on to the next epic.
All right.
All right. So I guess this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And his first one is to kill,
Nope.
populate on either side 1 enforcer.
Alright, so that epic and this epic gets an enforcer.
Right. You can't see it, but there's 2 little, I don't think you can see it, but there's 2 little arrows on the side of this symbol.
Yep.
And if it has that, then it means both adjacent locations get whatever is inside that box.
Yep.
The next one is kill 2 people this time.
Down to 36.
And then move Steelheart's ability on his red track up 1.
Red track up 1.
Then kill 2 more people.
So 34. Alright.
Now I've come to the bracket, so now it's time to move the bracket. So it goes up 1. And I have 1 enforcer, so it goes up 2. So it goes 1, 2. Now these don't go off now.
Right.
They're going to go off next turn unless I defeat him or contain what he's able to do. But I think you're getting a feel for how bad leaving these on the board can affect you now. Notice that the one we just put in is now going to get to activate too, even though he wasn't even on the board. I can't see that real good, Jeb.
It
looks
is
like it's got
a green skull and a purple magnifying glass, and it does not have arrows on either side. So what that does is it increases his health and research by 1.
Right, which is awful for this guy because he's already at the best health he can get, but now it's going to cost us more to research him to even be able to hit him.
Right. Now this symbol, some of the epics have the arrow on either side, which would mean the ones adjacent to it would go up 1 research and 1 health. So those are even worse.
Yep. So now he's reached to the bracket, so now we count how much it's going to move. 1 plus the 2.
1, 2, 3.
And we move on to this epic. And he has a move Steelheart black up 1.
Yep.
Move a Steelheart red up 1.
Yep. I'm doing this off screen, but
Right
you already
now,
know what it does.
You already know. And then kill a person.
Alright, down to 33.
And then he has 2, so he goes up 3. So 1, 2. I got to the end. So it hits, and that actually happens. Okay, so anytime that you hit this, doesn't matter when, it's going to react, which is move Steelheart's yellow track up 1.
All right.
So now that all that tasty goodness has happened, now Steelheart gets to go.
Oh, fun. All right, so when Steelheart gets to go, you need to refer to his track and board. So the first thing he's going to do, you start with the top and work your way down.
You must start with the top and work your way down.
This is no fun at all. So starting, he kills 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. So we are down to 28 already. And then this is going to knock down the...
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times.
So 1, steal a die. 2, 3, 4, 5. So it went the entire track. Wow.
Okay, so somebody lost a die right now, and now it's in... And if you notice that you lose the die after you had your...
Buy phase.
Your buy phase, so you have no chance to get... You are playing around without a die, and that's awful. Okay, so the next one is he brings out Enforcers.
Ugh.
Remember that his track says he can only lump 3 at a time.
And that's only for this specific one. Other ones may have different things.
ones.
But it actually says a 3 there. So that's how you know.
But then you still count the badges. First badge has 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So starting with him.
So he's in that city, so he gets 3.
3. Oh, look at all the nice little Enforcers on there now.
And then going clockwise, the next city gets the next 3.
3. Oh, look at there's a nice wad there too.
And then still clockwise, the very last one will get placed there. So that was the red track, and now the blue track.
Oh, barricades. And there's a total of 3 barricades coming out.
Yep. So these, however, are placed 1 at a time at city. So starting with him is 1.
We'll lay those flat so you can see them.
Next is there, and the third is going to be here.
Yeah. If you don't remember what we said about barricades, now any city location that has a barricade in it cannot be moved into or moved out of until the barricade has been removed.
Yep. All right, that's all the damage he's done, right? No, there's one last thing that he does before he finishes his turn, and that's going to be to run away. So,
right. So now you roll. Where's his die?
I don't know.
Here it is. Oh. Now you roll to see where he runs away to. He's going to move 2 spots clockwise. 1, 2, and now you can see why order matters on the city when we were telling you during setup. If your table doesn't permit it, you can put them any way you want, but you need to remember what is clockwise for the entire game.
Right.
Okay. So now he's sitting over there, and he's going to wreak havoc on that spot.
And Mickey's guy has to get rid of that barricade and this barricade just to get over to it.
Right, just to be move over to go. You've seen the entire thing. Now it's rinse and repeat to either. Well, actually, you only get 1 win condition. You have to defeat Steelheart. So, real quick, in order to do that, you must totally research him. Okay? If we've played a few rounds of the game and we have researched him to 0, we remove the research track, we put on the health track, and it starts at the same number
that he began the game with.
That he began research with, which was 26. So, the 6.
So once you do 26 research to him,
you
now
get
you
to
have
hit
to
him
do
for 21
health.
damage.
26.
And if you noticed, we didn't talk about any rewards being damage.
Yep.
So you are going to have to generate all the damage to him with your own die, and you're going to have to be in the same spot to be able to hit him. It doesn't matter if epics are still alive, or if there's enforcers in your spot, or anything else. That's fine. As long as you are in the same spot, you are allowed to hit him.
Yep, and once he hits 0 health, you win.
You automatically win.
However, if the population gets to 0, you lose.
Right. Yeah, I think those are the only 2 win and lose conditions. But if you noticed how fast, the population was going down. We are at what right now, Jeb?
28 out of the 40.
Out of 40. We almost lost half the population in one round. Granted, it wasn't really a true first round, but what we showed you is 100% possible.
Oh yeah.
During
we've had really bad rounds.
Really bad rounds. You just you couldn't contain anything. You couldn't get enough research. You might have got a ton of money, but too many barricades out. Trust us, it gets difficult.
Yep.
All right. Is there anything else?
I think that's everything.
Okay. So, I know that was a little squishy. We were bringing things in and out. Hopefully, it made sense. However, like I say, almost every game that we play, if that was too quick or something didn't make sense, try watching a couple rounds of gameplay, and I think you'll get it. We do try to, at least for the first few turns, talk about what we're doing. Later on in the game, we get a little lazier because we figure if you guys don't know it by now, I don't know what to do, and we're probably so engrossed in the game that we forget anyways.
Yep.
But again, go ahead and watch a little bit of gameplay if something didn't make too much sense, and I think it will probably clear it up. And as I said before, the rule book is pretty clear on most things. There's a couple ambiguous things in our opinion with the cards. Not too bad. Make something else and make something up until you find the right answer, and I think you'll be fine. It won't ruin the game. Trust us, the game's plenty hard.
Yeah.
So hopefully we see you for gameplay.
We got a 3-player game.
We got a 3-player game coming. Me, Jeb, and Gary will try to take down Steelheart and save the day.